especially talking now about chieftaincy, because the Paramount Chief of the Lawra traditional area, Lawra Paramount III, has underscored the important role women play in the development of society. Now, he noted that in times past, issues of women were always relegated to the background, but the narrative has changed now as their views are included in most decision-making processes in the country. The made the statement at the annual meeting of We Are the Solution. Country coordinators and leaders of Lawra in the Upper West region have been attending that. Joy News' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
The Pan-African Movement of Rural Farmers, We Are the Solutions annual meeting of country coordinators and leaders brought together participants from 7 West African countries comprising of Republic of Mali, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Guinea-Conakry, Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso, and host Ghana. President of We Are the Solution was Madam Mariama Sonko, says the ball rolling, giving an overview of the meeting.
The agroecology we are defending is a peasant one. Our aim is to defend the value and promote the initiatives of peasant farmers and play in the social movement, and to denounce false solutions. Peasant agroecology is above all a body of living practice promoted by social movements with a common political objective.
National Coordinator for Ghana We Are the Solution, Anita Suta, urged participants to work to better the lives of their people.
As we deliberate, strategize, and envision, let us remember that our work extends far beyond these 4 halls. It reaches into the villages where women tend to crop and nurture families. It echoes in the laughter of children who taste the fruit of our labor. It echoes in the wind that carries whispers of change across the African landscape.
Paramount Chief of the Lawra traditional area, Lawra Paramount III, averred that in times past, the importance of women in building our societies was overlooked. He stated that the narrative has however changed due to the advocacy role played by women groups in the country, such as Rural Women Farmers Association of Ghana and We Are the Solution.
If we were to look at 10 years or 5 years ago, all national plans, there was not always any section on women issues. But it was through the advocacy of groups like yours and RUFAC, supported by United Nations and other agencies, that now every national development or economic plan, women's issues are beginning to take center stage, and thanks to your advocacy.
A senior lecturer at the Sociology Department of the Simon Diedon University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Dr. Constance Awimpo Akurugu, reading a speech on behalf of the Upper Regional Director of the Department of Gender, Cheritu Boturi, enumerated the barriers that are often to the development of women, calling for their removal.
The West African sub-region is saturated with deeply entrenched male-dominant power structures and patriarchal beliefs, which combine sometimes with unfavorable government policies to limit women's involvement and effective participation in the agricultural value chain. In particular, sociocultural norms and customary practices that discriminate against women and girls lead to women having unequal access relative to men to productive resources and services, with the implication that women often have limited resource endowment and production systems therefore are marked by simple technologies and low returns.
Deputy Executive Director and Project Coordinator for the Center for Indigenous Knowledge and Organizational Development, CICOD, Banaku F. Daniel, pledged the unwavering commitment of his outfit to empowering women to improving their economic well-being.
We still continue to work collaboratively with RUFAC to continue to address the issues of land access for women. Unfortunately, we've enjoyed the collaboration of the traditional authorities within the Lawra and Nandon municipalities through the development of what we call the community land protocols. We have within the Lawra district alone, 400 women having access to dedicated land for vegetable production, organic vegetable production. In the Nandon district, we have up to 600 women having access to productive land, not only access, but they have security as well through the development of the community land protocols. We continue to engage women, especially in looking at their role in seed systems, community seed systems.
Reporting for the News, Rafik Salam, Lawra.
We are the solution.
But back to our earlier story about the calls for more participation in the upcoming district level elections is the reason for which the Chamber for Local Government is asking government to take some measures together with the Electoral Commission to show up participation in the upcoming elections. Joining us now is Dr. Richard Fiadomo, who is the Executive Director for the Chamber of Local Government. Let's try one more time, sir. Apologies, we're having some challenges connecting with you earlier. I hope it's better now. And the call you're making is that more people have to come on board and support our district level elections, because you say that's crucial to our national development. Why so?
Yeah, thank you very much. For us, that is the basis that underpins our local governance system, because the Constitution is clear, which allows that there must be a local governance system. And we talk about the local governance system, we have the administrative structure, and we have what we call the political structure. And the elections that we are going to have is going to elect assembly members and unit committee members. Indeed, assembly members, they form the assembly, they are the bona fide members of the assembly, and they sit at the General Assembly and make laws, bylaws for assemblies, and also approve budgets for the assembly. So if you have a situation whereby people do not take interest in electing their local representatives, it becomes a challenge, because at the end of the day, the kind of interest that they are supposed to have in the assemblies themselves cease to exist. And when it happens that way, the assemblies cannot function and function effectively.
And the point is, we've not even crossed the 50% threshold before in terms of it's not a threshold necessarily, but we've not crossed the 50% mark in terms of participation in the district level elections. What's been that major hurdle accounting for this, as opposed to what we see in the national elections, for instance?
Thank you very much. You see, for the local government election, assembly members are supposed to be policy makers. Assembly members are not paid for the job that they do. They only take certain allowances. Assembly members are not allocated any share of the district assembly's common fund. For example, if I go to queue and vote for a member of parliament, I am sure that if I go to the member of parliament for some kind of development assistance, our drainage in our area is not okay, it has to be desilted, the member of parliament has access to what they call the MP share of the DACF. And assembly members do not have any such thing. So sometimes it becomes a disincentive for me to go and queue and vote for an assembly member as opposed to voting for a member of parliament. And that is why we are calling for the next government to ensure that in their manifesto, the NDC, the MPP, the CDP, any party, we expect to see that when they come, they are going to have what we call the electoral area development fund. And when there's anything like that, assembly members can also have access to some level of funds to undertake development projects. So obviously there is no incentive for you and I to go and queue and vote for assembly members. That's why we expect the next government to be serious about assembly members. We have heard that John Dramani Mahama has said that when he comes, he's going to pay assembly members. We expect them to go beyond normal payment, but to set up a fund as part of the DACF, as is done for the MPs. There must also be some funds allocated to the assembly so that the electoral areas can see some modicum of development.
And I'm just trying to, and I'm just trying to unpack possibly what the cost might be, given the call you're making now. That's going to be a very expensive venture, you agree? The fact that now would have to look for funding to give to assembly members, something like an assembly member common fund, you say. It's new. It's going to cost us some more.
It will cost us nothing. As we speak, assembly members are development agents. Members of parliament, for Christ's sake, are not development agents. But it so happens that members of parliament, because they give the formula, they are in the kitchen. So as they are cooking, they are taking some of the food. So they have allocated 8% to the members of parliament for them to use as their MP share of the development fund. If that same 8%, they can take 3% and give to the assembly area for electoral area development fund, it will do the trick. For example, what is an electoral area? What is a constituency? It is the number of electoral area that make up one constituency. So if an MP is giving 8%, the MP should be able to share that 8% among the electoral areas that constitute that particular constituency. So we are not asking for extra funds to be given to the assembly members. We are just saying that what is going to the MPs in the strictest sense of the word is even an illegality, because MPs are not development agents and they are not supposed to have access to common fund, which is meant for nothing but development. In the assembly members, they are development agents, and the MMDCs are also the development agents. That is why the money goes to the assembly for development. So
and now we have the sector, and now we have the sector minister, Dan Boche, asking members of parliament to support the process. There's also another fear here, because the essence of the decentralization move is to do away with partisanship at the base. Inviting political party-sponsored candidates who are now MPs in parliament to support the process might simply reduce local level elections to partisanship again. Don't you have, this fear as the Chamber for Local Government?
No, that is not the case at all. As we speak, members of parliament are ex officio members of the assembly. So members of parliament attend assembly meetings. The only thing they cannot do is vote. So what the minister is saying is just something that happens. It's just a clarion call on the members of parliament to go back to their base and support. Because as we speak, they are members of the assembly. The only thing they don't have is a voting right. And is it also not ironical that somebody has a voting right, he has no funds allocated to his electoral area, yet the one that does not have voting right has funds allocated to it. So this whole thing, apart from it being an illegality, is also a misnomer. So the call by the minister will not interfere in the local governance system in any way. And I think the MPs can do more, so that more people will be able to see the need for them to come out in their numbers and vote in the upcoming election on the 19th.
And we know that the election itself is just a couple of weeks away. What are you expecting in terms of reforms from the Electoral Commission? Also, the other constitutional bodies such as the NCC to boost participation?
Yeah, we are barely a week away. We expect the Electoral Commission and indeed the NCC to intensify the adverts they are doing on the various media platforms, to also engage in social media campaigns to ensure that the generality of the Ghanaians who are registered voters will see the need for for them to participate in the election. For me, what the minister has done by going to parliament to call on the parliamentarians is also a very positive sign and a step in the right direction. So we expect that we have about 7 days more to go. So we need to intensify the media engagement. We need to intensify the advertisement and all that, so that Ghanaians will come. We appeal to all Ghanaians that the base for development of this country is actually at the local government level. So they should take interest in who becomes their assembly members and unit committee members within their respective electoral areas.
Okay, and Dr. Richard Fiadumo, grateful for your time, and thank you for spending some time with us. We now take you to some mining communities, because in that area, it can be really difficult for some members who aren't directly employed by the mining operations happening and the company set up in their area. However, in the heart of Ghana, some oil palm farmers, with the support of Golden Star Wasa Limited, sowing the seeds of change. Samuel Kujobrace, our with our agric desk, traveled to the Atieku community to meet the farmers and has come through with this report.
Farming is one surest way for poverty alleviation On a continent like Africa, research indicates that agricultural productivity growth reduces poverty.
Of course, the call is being made by some corporate groups and also CSOs that persons in mining communities be supported as part of the plan to resuscitate, this whole push that people who do not have alternative livelihood get some in these mining communities. Let's bring in now Corporate Affairs Manager of Golden Star Resources, Gerard Bwanchi. Thank you for joining us, sir. We've just seen through that story there that, of course, the call is being made that persons in some of these mining communities be supported at least to keep on doing something. So it takes away the energy from, focusing on illicit or illegal activities such as illegal mining. What's your, outfit doing just as part of this new project you're initiating to tackle these challenges?
Well, the gist of our oil palm plantation project is really not a new project. It's been one of our strategies to sort of provide livelihoods and alternative livelihoods for our catchment area members. I mean, knowing that you exist in a predominantly farming area, you can't take away too much, and then of course our use of land also sort of interferes with their livelihood. We need to be deliberate about trying to provide some sort of alternative livelihood, which is not too far from what they're used to doing, but also a bit more higher than the normal subsistence farming they used to do, and so make it more commercial. So the project is not a really a new one, it's an old one, but we have been improving as time goes on. For example, we're looking at a production plan so that they don't just go out now when they're fruits, they're now good at starting on their own as a startup, and they're now good at paying back the soft loans that we give them and even taking more and expanding. So we're going to a level where we would now try and put up a production plan so that they don't have to go and sell their fruits, but we within amongst themselves sell the fruits to the production plant, just add a bit more value to their work and their hard work so that they will get a bit more higher pricing. However, from what you're saying, we see that with time, the oil palm plantation has become a very good strategy also to reclaim destroyed Galamsey areas, but also hopefully if it becomes highly priced and commercial, be a way of preventing people from going into the dangerous and risky small-scale and illegal small-scale mining, where they only paid for their, as we say in our local parlance, by day. They just go by day, get a pan and shovel, they just pay their 50Cs. I mean, if you talk to some of the farmers, which you may have shown already, I probably missed the documentary, it's much, much, much more worth their while than going to risk their lives.
The question as to whether or not farmers get to pay anything.
Sorry?
Do farmers get to pay anything?
Well, we set them up, we start them. Yes, they get to pay back some of the money so that we could give it out again to other farmers to start. So they don't pay with interest, but there's a revolving sort of fund that they pay back. And I mean, free things are not valued, even traditionally, culturally, free things are never valued. So yes, they pay back the money they use for the initial setup, and some continue and never come back, but as others keep requesting for expansion. Yeah.
I see. Now, for those who might want to join, the project subsequently, are the opportunities still available for them?
Well, it depends on land. It depends on availability of land. Depends on also the area, catchment area, and who owns land there. We don't take land from the people. You'd have to come and donate what land you have. We look at it. We help you to set it up. But yes, join us in the sense that it's a very good model, and we're happy, not just individuals but other corporates, to assuming we have a big consortium of this sort of thing, this model. I mean, you almost become a strong match for the other other palm plantations, but not even for them, but against import of other oil derivatives or oil products.
So what's the number, and how many people are you targeting to reach by the end of this year or perhaps next year?
Well, putting them together might be difficult, but we at least have covered most of our catchment area. We're going outside. We have just rehabilitated a tailings area which we use for the plantation. So these are internal lands we have used ourselves. But at least we might want to increase to probably close to 80% of what so twice what we have been dealing with.
And I hope the future is looking bright for this project, I believe.
Well, looking at the risk we are facing in terms of the distraction from Galamsey and all that, if this model is taken up also by people in policy and authority, you could get serious support and might reduce, because look, it's obvious that the military police intervention is not working. It's obvious that all the legal things, I mean, the prosecutions are not working. We're talking about livelihoods. People need to live and survive. Not supporting them, but anything that would take them away from a risky life would definitely be more preferable. I mean, who likes to die in the process of making money for your family? Nobody.
Grateful. Gerard Wachi, working, of course, as Corporate Affairs Manager for Golden Star. Thank you for spending some time with us. You're watching The Pulse here. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.